lucu adabi, kesukaan keluarga sesuai dinikmati di segala suasana. Adabi.
Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. The fake halal meat scandal of Malaysia was a corruption scandal involving the selling of fake halal meat in Malaysia over a period of 40 years, but was only discovered in December 2020. According to Sinar Harian, the Malaysian Department of Quarantine and Inspection Services (MAQIS) found that the syndicate, disguised as a frozen meat supplier, has been repackaging non-certified halal meat from China, Ukraine, Brazil and Argentina, and pasting self-made halal stickers on them. The meat being smuggled including horse, kangaroo, and even pork meat, which were mixed and sold as halal certified beef. The cartel bribed senior officials from a number of Malaysian government agencies. Several cartel members were arrested. On 23rd of November 2020, Malay Daily with Sinar Harian reported that the fried company was importing non-halal certified meat and the authorities at several ports were turning a blind eye to the cargo. Additionally, it was reported that the cargo was brought in on falsified documents. On 2nd of December, a raid on a warehouse uncovered a cartel in Sungai Johor where 1,500 tons of imported frozen meat worth 13 million ringgit was seized. The warehouse was used for making fake labels and stamps. Then repackaging and stamping the meat with the falsified labels, it was also found that the cartel was impersonating a well-known meat supplier. On 21st of December, the New Straits Times reported that officials from at least 4 agencies were involved in aiding the cartel in its illegal practices, which had been going on for at least 40 years. The officials were bribed with cash and women for sexual services to turn a blind eye on the cartel's activities. On 20th December, 2 directors of a Johor Bahru-based frozen meat company, Raihana Cold Storage Sendirian Berhad, were charged with falsifying halal logos on transport vehicles. By 4th of January 2021, 4 suspects had been remanded to custody. To further our understanding towards this case, an interview is being conducted. Hello? May we know what steps were taken by the government to solve this issue?
So, a lot of thank you for inviting me. So, according to reports, the import of non-halal meat camouflage as halal meat into the country has been going on for decades. Regrettably, the people have been cheated for a long time and many irresponsible players who are involved, directly or indirectly in this meat scandal have made their money. So following this expose, the stigma over the consumption of non-halal or the beast meat will remain in the minds of Malaysians for a long time to come. So the term halal means a lot to all Malaysians. Even non-Muslims in the country look forward to buying halal meat with the belief that the animal slaughtered and not adulterated, diseased or derived from carcasses. So this is not only an issue of halal or non-halal but also involves public health. It's doubtful that there is even a QR code on every label applied to the meat package for the authorities to identify the details of its productions. So random checks on the package will also not be as effective and comprehensive because there can be elements of corruption through which these meat cartels can get their way around scrutiny. The meat cartel can still avoid illegal requisites when the meats enter the country shores. As reports, corruption in the meat is the main pathway for the non-halal meat to enter as halal meat, as there are government authorities who are not trustworthy. Thus, the cartel involved have various ways to decriminalize the process through unethical practice and corruptions. Even if an RCI is established on this issue, it may not necessarily overcome the modus operandi of these cartels. Perhaps, matter can be controlled at the local, but as long as there is corruption and dishonesty involved at the source of the change, they cannot be totally resolved. So what government can do is they should provide incentive to this investor to venture into this field so that livestock slaughtering and packaging will be easier to monitor if they take place locally. No matter what steps are taken by JAKIM or the government to overcome this abuse, it is difficult to curb meat cartels from their manipulative demeanor. This pickle will go on and as long as the country is dependent on imported meat. So there are 32 million Malaysians and about 90% of them consume meat. The best way to overcome this important meat issue is to set up a large cattle and goat breeding industry in the country. So meat production can then be supervised by the local authorities. Unfortunately, until today, nothing much has been done to ensure an adequate supply of beef and mutton in the country. So we experienced a big disappointment with the National Feedlot Corporation (NFC) meant to cater to the adequate supply of beef in the country. So the NFC was given whopping 230 million to raise cattle for meat, but the project did not materialize. So the Department of Islamic Development JAKIM also take part in solving this issue. So today they announced an action plan to manage the scandal surrounding the activities of a meat cartel which had been actively smuggling not certified meat into Malaysia to later be sold as halal beef. JAKIM Deputy Director General Operation Dr. Abdul Aziz Yusuf said the agency, whose job scopes include the halal certification of meat, has put into place a series of initiatives geared towards resolving the issue. This, he said, would involve the cooperation of other bodies such as the Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Ministry, Malaysian Quarantine and Inspection Service Department, as well as the Custom Department. So the discussion and said JAKIM will center on issues faced by the importers and distributors, providing an explanation on the SOP, encouraging them to apply for the Malaysian Halal certificate, as well as requiring SPHM holders to obtain supplies only from certified sources. So JAKIM said it also plans to promote certification bodies and foreign halal logos which have received its approval. This, said the agency, encompasses 84 halal certification bodies and 46 countries. JAKIM said it will also update its halal certified products recognition applications. It also aims to renew all the new applications, updates, and also revoke certification as per its SOP. So it's a little bit that I can share for today's. So that we hope that this issue did not reoccur in the future.
Sedapnya oligo, minuman yang hebat, ceria gembira, nikmati bersama. Oligo, oligo sedap, panas dan sejuk menjadi hidangan, lazat diminum bersama tersayang. Oligo, oligo, oligo sedap.
Thank you for the important information. We will continue the news by showing you the video clip of the actual cases.
Three directors of two companies have been remanded for 4 days in connection with the meat cartel scandal in Johor. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission said they are investigating the case under the MACC Act, which carries a fine of 5 times the amount of the bribe or 10,000 ringgit, or whichever is higher. There will also be imprisonment of not more than 20 years upon conviction. One of the suspects is a female clerk of the company. The 4 will facilitate MACC's investigation. Authorities have recently busted a cartel that smuggled meat from Ukraine, Brazil, Argentina, and China before repackaging them with the halal logo, even though they were not certified to be halal. They raided a warehouse in Senai where 1,500 tons of frozen meat worth 30 million ringgit were seized. On December 30th, prosecutors charged 2 company directors with using fake halal logo on their company's vehicles. The accused, Rahman Sheikh Abdullah, and his wife, Raihana Kasim, pleaded not guilty to the charges.
Let us listen to our civilians and if they have any comments about this issue. We have Miss Ermina on the scene. Go ahead, Miss.
Alright, thank you, Ms. Natasha. I'm here with a few local residents here in Kuala Lumpur.
Oh, actually, I'm aware about the case, but I'm not really affected by that issue. I think the government should deploy troops to various sites around Malaysia. They should also check every abandoned locking warehouse to see the suspicious smuggling. I blame the government. The government is severely at fault for not checking the source of the meat despite it being familiar and popular brands. The source of where it manufactured, sent and repackaged should also be truly checked. If you see any suspicious activity, you should report it, as well as double checking halal shops on the packaging every time you buy meat in a bag. Just check the logo.
So in my opinion, firstly, to prevent the meats to be illegally transported into the country, the government needs to truly check the products during the border check. But if it was shipped into the country other than the border checkpoint, which means the illegal ports, the authorities maybe could guide the ports that possibly have a high chance where the smuggle could happen. Other than that, the government could maybe do a search at warehouses that seem suspicious, as it may be the place where the halal and non-halal meats to be mixed together. So that is my suggestion to the government to prevent this mishap from happening ever again. So for me, both were obviously to be blamed, as both were at fault, the government and the people in charge of the haze. But it is the government's duty to check all of the products truly before letting it in the country, or to search the places where the smuggling could possibly happen. It is because the people in charge in the money haze are just making money for living, although it is by illegal ways.
Thoughts about the case of the beef cutter? Well, I'm disappointed at the government. Why? Because even though there are millions of products, do they not consider checking it a second time to verify it? No, they did not. Or maybe they did, but they did get it wrong, so maybe not. Well, either ways, I am very disappointed.
There you have it, folks. The comments by the residents. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you for shedding the light for the citizen, Miss Ermina. That is all for the latest update on this issue. Goodbye and thank you for watching the news.